So, Dr. Jacqueline Kettler from Boise State University, let's start off with these are strange times. But here we go. The governor and the state of Idaho is saying, look, we need to hold this election, but we're going to ask everyone to ask for a mail-in ballot. Um, it's very unusual. Is this not by its very nature sort of disenfranchising a lot of people?
Well, I think one challenge, right, is that people have to request the absentee ballot. And so people need to make sure that they take the time to request that.
And that's fair enough, but lots of people have lots of difficulties in doing that in a normal time. But right now we're stuck at home. Maybe there are some people who don't even have, access to the internet. Is that by itself not disenfranchising?
Yeah, I think the Secretary of State's trying their best to figure out ways to call it in or mail other ways as well. But this it's definitely a concern that we're going to see a drop in turnout.
Why not just send a ballot to everyone? There's lots of states that do mail-in ballots, right? Okay, let's just say, hey, however long it takes, let's send a ballot to everyone in the mail, and then we'll go from there. Why not do that?
It's a great question. I think, you need to think about who's registered, who we don't people may move, so we don't know current addresses, these types of things. So there would be a good chunk of kind of administrative work that would need to go into doing that.
You think that would take too long?
It may take too long. It would probably also need some changes in like regulations or rules. I mean, and this would, administering an election is pretty challenging as it is. So I think this is kind of the best option for this situation.
So maybe not the best option completely that we can would like to have, but what kind of impact do you think this is going to have on all of these different races right now? What is your overall thought on how it will be impacted?
Well, definitely we're going to see a drop in turnout. I mean, some people are not going to be able to or remember to request their absentee ballot, or they may forget to send back their ballot. And so we're going to see a decline in turnout. And so those that will vote will probably be very regular, habitual voters, people who pay more attention, maybe more politically active. It may also drive down participation for those where English is not their first language.
Does that benefit one party over another?
It's a great question. It's not clear that we will see a partisan difference in the turnout, but it will be interesting to see if it does.
What will you look for when all is said and done to identify, if it did?
Well, since it's a primary election, it's a little bit of a different beast than a general election, right? And so I think you're looking to see in those races that are competitive, what does the numbers kind of look like compared to a regular primary election?
And your suggestions for voters out there, what would you tell them?
Well, definitely remember to sign up for an absentee ballot. And then once you get it, remember to complete it and send it back. One thing that research has also shown that communication from election officials can really help increase participation. So I hope our election officials stay pretty active in sharing information with voters.
Finally, I guess you could say that with everyone stuck at home, bored out of their heads, maybe this is something they'll pay more attention to.
That's true. Census return rates so far are pretty much on track for normal. So it's possible that some people will be more interested in participating.
Let's hope so. Dr. Jacqueline Kettler, thanks so much for joining us tonight. Appreciate it.
Of course.
Dr. Kettler, before you disappear, I
Yep.
wanted to ask one question. Just what kind of voter, if any kind of voter, does this type of change benefit? So is there a specific age group, a specific income demographic that would be more likely to vote in a mail in election as opposed to voting in person?
Yeah, well, one thing is people who are really involved in their party can matter because the parties will be telling them to request their absentee ballot, to remember to return it. Additionally, I think voters that are older, but not too old, so it's like that, 50 to 65 range will probably be a pretty high turnout. They regularly vote, they're well involved, but they still have access to the resources to do so.
With a state like Idaho, where the primary election is largely the general election for a lot of these races, we don't have a ton of competitive House races or Senate races for that matter. Is this something that could end up changing the outlook of the legislature because the primaries are so, because it's such a different election that is going to decide the nominees for each party?
It's a great question. I don't know really. I think depending on who's able to effectively mobilize people right now, it could shift a little bit. It may not be who the party may most support if one candidate's able to get more kind of grassroots support. It'll be interesting to see. It's hard to answer that, I think, at this point.
Cool. Anything else from you, Roland?
Another question. I mean, mobilization, you say which side is able to mobilize better? I guess the only way to do that right now is by social media, right?
Yeah, social media, or I saw some newspaper ads for candidates. So, those types of communications can be effective. But yeah, I mean, door to door knocking, a major part of what a lot of candidates do, they can't really do right now.
Good point. Okay.
Cool. Thank you so much, both of you. Appreciate it.
Okay.
Thanks.
Sorry. Hopefully the quality's okay.